And we're good.
All right.
And we're good. That scared the crap out of me.
No one else can probably tell right now, but we had this really nice countdown until we started, and then with 10 seconds left, had some technical difficulties. So, but hey, now we're here. This week and nothing. So, what's up? Where do we want to start today?
Did you have the live stream up on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, you closed it out though?
Yeah,
I forgot to close it out.
Oh.
So it was actually playing on my phone. Where do I want to start today? Man, where do I want to start? Here's a good place to start because that
countdown?
That podcast that I was telling you about with Sara DT.
Oh, yeah.
And Gary V. So, just like you were saying just a couple seconds ago, doing these projects and everything, it makes time seem like it goes by so much faster.
Yes, it does.
And everything like that. Now, I know a lot of people they really, really hate motivational speakers.
I'd say it's about 50-50. I mean, you got those people out there that hate them. They're like, freaking phony. Taking people's money. But then they actually do help some people.
And look at the time that we're in where people are actually going out and they're making things. Now, on the surface, people are only seeing these people starting podcasts and YouTube channels and all this other stuff. And they're only seeing the faces behind, like, all of the products that they're using, all of the products that they're promoting and everything like that. No one's seeing those people that are making that stuff. Like all the brand new Samsung phones, like who's engineering all of that stuff and everything like that.
The brains behind the operation.
And all of these influencers are providing this outlet for them to gain money, for them to gain traction, and a lot of these influencers, they're making a huge impact.
Right.
Because everyone wants to do something now. Granted, was that me? That was you.
I'm going to say, I don't know.
Anyways, so I'm going to tell you right now that there is a lot of people out there that are just doing it very not in the right direction.
Right.
There's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon to just make money. They're not.
Well, here's the other side of it too, and where you really kind of get into whether or not what they're saying is helping people, because we're at that time and place where people need to do more for themselves. They need to be more self-reliant, and you get a lot of these speakers that fall in between promoting that self-reliance and basically just saying something to make you feel good, which in the end doesn't really help, long term. It doesn't change the way you think. It doesn't change the way you're going about your life. You just feel good.
Those are the ones that I can't stand. The ones that are like, tell yourself you're great, blah blah blah. No, tell yourself that you're shit and you need to like get on the fucking bandwagon.
That's like the biggest problem that so many people have nowadays is no one, like, at least not the people close to you, they'll tend to not tell you, hey, you're messing up. Hey, you need to get your stuff together. They're going to be like, hey, you're doing great. You're trying. You're really putting yourself out there. No, sometimes you need to know you're screwing up and you really need to change something you're doing.
Yeah. And I like it because, I mean, you've seen my family. My family's, there's no fucks given.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're fucking up, you're fucking up, and they're going to lay it out.
Oh.
Lay it out for you. And they're not gonna sugarcoat it. I mean, except for a couple of them that we can't nail into them hard, or they'll lose their minds.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if I'm fucking up, they let me know. And
right.
But I stay on track. I tend to remind myself, like with this, I'm not running away to New York City to be some voice person.
Some voice person.
Well, that's what they're calling it. I guess this is voicing. This is kind of like the motivational speakers and stuff like that. They
like that TED Talks, those kind of things.
That's different because that's a lot of knowledge base.
Right. Well, that's why I was trying to
That's
see, like, where are you
scientific.
trying to...
Like this could be considered as influencing, because we're not laying out any kind of real information.
Right.
We're not discovering anything new.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if... I think saying this is influencing might be giving us just a little bit too much credit here.
Oh,
What we're
yes,
doing-
yes. I'm saying this particular like kind of genre of
format.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
talk radio.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
We're doing talk radio.
Yeah. But so Gary V is he's got a few books out.
Right.
And he's actually fantastic.
Now, I haven't heard anything about this guy before.
You've heard him. You've heard him before.
Okay, well,
if you've ever
lay it
heard
out
of
real quick.
If you've ever heard of any real type of motivational speech videos or anything like that, then you've probably heard him before.
I probably haven't heard him then.
Okay, then you haven't heard him then. But he's been really big from New York City.
All right.
And he hangs out with all the big people like Casey Neistat, I guess Sara DT now. He's been meeting with a lot of rappers lately,
Really?
I guess. But he's not going into any kind of music. But he's written a couple books now. He's got a new one coming out called Crushing It. He had one called Crush It, and now he's moved forward into Crushing It. But I actually pre-ordered it last night on Audible, because I get each month I get a credit on Audible, and there's a couple times where I don't grab a book that month, so I had a few spares. And I saw that he was I saw that he was coming out with a book, so I'm like, I'm gonna pre-order this. Let's see how it is. I even actually had enough in spare credits that I bought Crush It. I haven't started it yet.
Oh, nice. So you're just getting his whole line there, huh?
I wanted those two.
Okay.
Because apparently he wanted to. His first book was like the 101 of.
So now you're getting advanced.
Crushing it is like 102, 103 kind of framework. But it was great, and he, for someone that doesn't do a whole lot for people, he definitely, he's helping.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask next. Is this guy, like you were saying, influencing, or is he like providing?
He's definitely
like,
influencing,
actual...
and some of these huge faces that you see on YouTube, they're actually they actually shout out to him. John Mayer is actually quoted on the back of his book, which I thought was funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So he's got some big people behind him, and he's great. But the thing that he really touched on was like, just do something. And even Peter McKinnon, he's a YouTuber right now too. He's more into photo and video and stuff like that.
Okay.
And just making great pieces and like camera hacks and stuff like that. That's what he became famous for, was this 10 camera hacks in 90 seconds or something like that.
Okay, so it's just kind of like, if you're into cinematography or photography or something.
Yeah,
and
Peter McKinnon.
Yeah.
So, oh fuck, I forgot where I was going.
I had a feeling.
No, but he's great too. Oh, okay. He just had a video on this as well. Just do something, even if it sucks.
It's like,
just do it.
It's like it's better than just sitting there and not doing anything. You pick a direction, take your shot, and go from there.
Yeah, and even with people saying like, don't do that. That's dumb. Don't do it.
Well, don't sit around doing nothing.
Shut the hell up. Go watch fucking Netflix. Shut the fuck up and let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me spend 30 hours a week trying to learn how to live stream.
Well, I mean, it might not be that obvious to everyone, but that's seems sort of like common sense to me. Like, like you're saying, you've got to find something, you've got to do something. It's better to fail trying to do something than just not do anything.
Yeah. And it's not common sense. And it kills me. It fucking kills me. Because people are like, why do you do that? I'm like, because I want something to do.
Yeah.
They're like, why don't you just do something? Why do you gotta put it on the internet? Why do you gotta do that? And I'm like, I don't know, because I like it.
Right.
It's fun. It's video, it's audio, it's computers, it's everything just like I like.
So yeah, it's just kind of fitting into all those little spaces, and I just kind of got dragged along for the ride.
Yeah. I threw you under the bus.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, we're doing this thing. All right.
Sounds good.
No.
Sounds awesome.
But even though like we've only just recently got back into doing these, and I think before we got back into it, we maybe had 3 episodes. But
yeah, we had
these
3 episodes,
yeah,
and a big thing was like the quality.
Oh,
and that's what I've been working up for this whole time, is just I know it's bad to be a perfectionist, but
it's not really bad to
don't-
be a perfectionist though. Like maybe in a relationship or something that might be difficult, but when you're trying to do something, whether it's professionally or whether it's just as a hobby,
yeah.
those are good traits to have.
Well, I just don't like watching shit. I don't like watching shit videos or
Yeah.
like shitty audio quality. You run over so many like YouTube videos for tutorials and stuff, and like that's how I've learned how to do 90% of this is
You've
tutorials.
got everything on the internet now, especially on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to figure something out, you can do it.
It's right there. I learned how to change out I was looking at trucks, because hopefully I'll be getting a truck here soon.
Yeah.
And I seen a truck online that had a shoddy transmission.
All right.
So I'm like, okay, I want to know how hard it's going to be to pull out a transmission myself. So I watched like an hour and a half video on pulling a transmission and replacing it by yourself without a lift.
Oh wow.
Kind of scary. Kind of scary. But it can be done. It can be done. And you can just follow these videos.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you've got the confidence to go out and do it, then first off, you're saving tons just in services, the time. You're reduced down to parts.
Mm-hmm.
You get the parts you need, and go from there.
Yeah. And
that's just slashing costs.
It's huge how you can just do something. That's why I started doing this, was because I just wanted to do something with my time. Yes, it takes a little bit of money, it takes a little bit of time, but what else would have I been doing? I would have been spending that money. I was talking to my brother the other day, and I was like, if I wanted to go out on a date, okay,
yeah,
$70 easy. You could drop $70 on a date. Easy.
And that's like if it's not even a good date.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was awesome, you could have spent up to like $100.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna stay in on this Friday, and I'm gonna buy this new microphone. I bought that new microphone instead of going out.
I remember you were talking about it last time we recorded.
Yep.
Because I think that's the same one you had last time, but you wanted to get a matching one for over here on my side.
So both microphones would be on the same level, because we had the gain cranked up so high on that dynamic microphone that I'm just like, this is not good. This could easily just, no, I don't want this.
Yeah. And I hope you people out there appreciate the work he's put into this audio.
I've worked so hard on this, and we're still not even. We're not pushing like too high. We're going into the orange, but the highest we've gone is probably -6, and that's the sweet spot.
Oh yeah,
it's -6.
I was gonna say, and you're going into the orange. You're loud ass.
I am, because I try to stay next to the microphone. I love my microphone.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you again with everything you put into it. But just like you're saying, you have to find something that you're passionate about. And hell, if you aren't passionate about anything, again, just find something to do and you will find your passion
Oh yeah,
along the
yeah.
way.
This isn't my passion. I can tell you that
Well,
this
maybe not this in general, but I know, like, working with the computers and everything, and
computers,
yeah.
video, and audio. I don't like being in front of the camera.
Oh.
I hate being in front of a camera.
And this is the funny thing, because I think this is probably more of what I've gotten out of doing these recordings and stuff. Is, I mean, you've known me long enough to know I'm not always, very outspoken. I'm really not into conflict and everything. And, having moments like this, and even as much as, like, I've recently been getting back into Dungeons and Dragons, did one of those not that long ago. Makes me more comfortable speaking, more comfortable in how I present myself, and a little bit more willing to, be a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
not
more.
that scary anymore.
Oh yeah,
That
it's no big deal.
yeah, you just face it. People are like, oh my god, I couldn't do it. I hate being in front of a camera. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Do you realize that you walk around in public every day and people see you? What's the difference?
Well, I mean, there is some difference. If you're on a camera, if anyone's seeing that, they're looking at you. Most
Okay.
people in
Okay.
public will not look at you, and will probably go out of the way not to look at you.
I people watch like
Oh
crazy.
yeah. No, like, right. Okay, people watching is one thing, but you notice so many people do this. And I mean, like, almost everyone. If you're walking down the street and someone's walking directly at you, you will both purposefully not look each other in the
Well,
eye.
that's just
That's what I'm saying.
becoming
That's
more
people's
common and common.
avoidance
I can't
of,
stand it.
yeah,
It drives me nuts.
yeah.
People that can't say good morning absolutely drive me nuts.
Oh yeah, or even just like the little.
Yeah, just a head nod.
Yeah.
Give me a head nod, bro. Come on.
It's like, acknowledge I exist. And same thing. I'll give you a
And
same
it's not
acknowledgement.
it's not being selfish. It's
No.
not being self-centered or anything.
That's yeah.
Just
recognizing.
acknowledge that I am a person and you are in my vicinity
Oh,
and you are completely aware that I'm here.
right. That's like, it's that kind of affirmation that we're all here.
Yeah.
We're all going through our shit, and I don't know you, you don't know me, but hey,
What's
here we
up?
are.
Hi. Welcome to the world.
Yeah. And it's like, I walked into your world, you walked into mine. Here we are, and here we keep going on our own way.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so just and that was a big thing that they were talking about on that podcast with Sara DT. She actually just started that podcast. He was the first guest for her, and he's huge.
Well, that's pretty big.
He's huge.
To start off like that.
Yeah, and she's gonna have Casey Neistat as her second, I guess as her second guest, and even Gary V's like, how does it feel that your greatest guest was going to be your first guest, and then your second greatest guest is going to be your second guest? he's kind of full of himself.
Well, I mean, you
he
have
is.
to be if you're in that position.
Yeah. But he's a pretty stand-up dude. He's not like he's not taking advantage of
Right, but
too
if you're
much.
giving advice on people on how to take control of their lives, you cannot even somewhat seem like you're unsure of where you are and who you are. You've got to exude that confidence at all times.
Yeah,
And
especially if you're gonna be like telling people
well,
what
exactly.
they should be doing. Like, don't beat around the bush and be a.
You can't afford to be humble in that position. You really can't.
No. And seeing from like where he came from to where he is now, like he's progressing. He's progressing very, very well. Not like some of the other motivational speakers that like they just suck. They suck. They're throwing around their money. They're just being assholes
Right.
with everything. There's a couple. I don't even bother to remember their names, but you see them all over the place. And remember a while back on YouTube, you started getting these commercials with this guy standing in front of this big house talking about like he got here with one book and blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
just like,
And you saw him everywhere. Every fucking video you were seeing that ad, and he just sucked.
and that's the thing. Like when you go out of your way to do that, it's no longer, hey, I want to,
Yeah.
it's not saying, hey, I can help you succeed. It's saying, look how rich I got, telling people
And he
how
wasn't
rich
even
I got.
he wasn't even that rich. He was
Right,
leasing
but it's
that
just
house.
flaunting.
Those cars were rented, and it's just it's awful. It's awful how people like
Oh yeah.
there are people that are taking advantage of this system right now. All the bot channels that are popping up every single day, like it's a huge. Did you hear about YouTube changing their monetization again? And
Again,
how,
I mean,
yeah,
I know that's been an issue
you
not that long ago.
you
but
have
yeah.
to have so many hours of watch time, so many requirements now to be partnered with YouTube to monetize your videos.
Okay.
And it was all over.
So it's basically like in
A
putting
lot of-
up that ceiling of
You have to meet
Yeah.
these requirements, and then we'll pay you. It is a big number, but it's not that much. If you're really into producing content and you're trying to make a living off of it, you can hit those numbers.
right. And if you're trying to make money off the content you're producing, you really need to have those kind of numbers to make much of anything at all.
Yeah. So it's actually just a few bucks a month if you hit those numbers anyways. And it was that much before this kicked in. A lot of people are blaming Jake Paul because of the suicide video.
I haven't seen that. I kind of want to, even though I know it's horrible.
Yeah, he put the dead body in the thumbnail and everything. And this is old news.
Oh, I know.
This
This
is-
is way old,
this
but
is-
still,
But a direct response to this was them setting up that. But
But how would
It's
how
not
would
that
those new, I don't know if you'd call them regulations, but how would those new rules even affect someone like Jake Paul, who already has massive following on YouTube?
well, along with the requirements, they also implemented a bunch of rules on video content.
All right.
Those rules that we were talking about were not directly because of that video. Those were things that they needed to implement because of the bots, the bot channels that are popping up every day, and
Right.
they're taking other people's content and throwing them onto their channel. So people are like, "Oh, that's a Jake Paul video," and they click on that, but it's not on his channel.
Yeah.
It's on someone else's.
Hmm.
So they watch that entire video thinking that it was his video. They don't even realize it.
Someone else is getting the views.
That's why they made the requirements for the partnership,
Right.
such and such. But all of this stuff was put out exactly like following that Jake Paul video. So everyone's trying to like blame him for all these implementations. It's not.
Well, I would say after that whole incident, I'm sure it got real easy for people to blame him for whatever the hell they
Oh
wanted.
yeah. It's just a blame game, just going everywhere now.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've gotten a single view.
I'm not terribly surprised.
I don't
You
even
know what?
care.
I'm just gonna randomly interject this because I already told you I was gonna do it anyway. Even if we don't have a view, hopefully my chief will see this. Jason well, I'm giving him a shout out and I fucked his name up. Jason Lebrecq, my chief from back in the army, he's getting married here coming up in May, and I just want to, congratulate him and his wife to be, and just, want to say I'm wishing them the best, and hopefully I'll be there for it. So looking forward.
Where's he getting married?
Down in Fort Jackson.
Ooh, relaxing Jackson.
Yep.
That place was hell. Everyone said I was about to have like a good a good basic, like it's gonna be super easy. They're not that hard on you. I get there and they're all infantry,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
all infantry drill sergeants, and they're like, we're about to make this hell because they're about to implement stress cards, and they're like, we don't want this to happen, so we're about to produce the best soldiers ever. And it sucked. I got my ass kicked so bad, dude. So bad.
I mean, everybody rips on everybody, but honestly, unless you're maybe Air Force, you're probably not gonna have a great time in basic, unless you're like a complete PT stud.
Now it is
prior.
different. Now it is different. I guess it is way more relaxed and whatnot. And
yeah.
oh,
I mean, I can't say from experience because I haven't go other than when I did, but
the important areas are still hard. They're still hard, but like regular soldiers, they're not going through like that bad of a time now. Like they are keeping their cell phones and all this other crap, and you're seeing these basic like photos and videos popping up everywhere, and it's like why are we doing this? They don't need this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's just another thing to stress about. Like,
right, then that's
if I had my phone, I
stressed.
would be more stressed because I had this thing that I need to keep track of, like another important thing that I need to keep track of.
Oh yeah. But honestly, like, and this is just my personal opinion, when you're going through basic and everything, you're supposed to be stressed. You're supposed to be learning how to deal with all that. And
I don't want these fucking kids that are making it through next to someone that
they're not all gonna be just like, you know, trying to breeze through it, because even like after they did implement things such as the stress cards and everything, I know when you heard about it, did anyone go, oh yeah, I'm so happy we're getting these stress cards? No, and everyone got pissed off. It's like, no, screw this, I don't want it. No, I'm not some fucking pussy. I don't need no stress card.
No.
It's a good thing we aren't monetized, because that might be a bad thing I just said.
Don't give yeah, I took off the monetization actually.
Yeah, I mean,
plus
what are we making?
we wouldn't be able to make anything.
We might get like a fraction of a penny.
Not
for
even
our
not
own
even,
views.
Not even. Because I think our last video is still at like 12 views, and 30% of that is just me watching it on different devices. But oh well, we're doing something.
Ooh.
It may suck, but at least.
Point is, some of those other views might be people that we're that I've been talking to as far as issues with her name.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That was nuts. Do some research, man.
Oh yeah.
Do some fucking research. We researched this name before we started.
True.
We actually went through a couple names. We went through a couple names. We went through a couple designs. We went through a couple logos, and we actually did our research before we threw this up. So we started this back in before August.
Yeah, I was gonna say back sometime throughout the summer, I believe. I mean, we go back. We could just look up when we posted, but yeah, it was back a few months ago.
And there was nothing out. There was nothing out called This Week in Nothing.
Yeah, looking back, there
was no Twitter handle. There was no Instagram. There was nothing. We checked every website and everything. But then, all of a sudden, last month, some random person contacts you.
Yeah. It's just
you don't even own the channel.
No. I mean, I'm like on it, but
yeah, I linked you to it, but I mean like I'm listed as the creator.
Right, and that goes back to what I think happened, because I ended up making the Twitter handle and everything.
Yeah, they found you on Twitter.
Yeah, which I don't even hardly use Twitter.
I'm glad that you grabbed the Twitter handle, though, because that means we had that before them as well.
Yeah.
Which is just weird. But how do you ask us to get rid of it?
Right.
No, and find something else, dude.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, I was softballing it at first, and I'm like, whatever, we'll see what I can do, but That just goes back to like what I was saying before, just conflict avoidance. And you know what? No, we were here first. We were producing content first, and we're gonna continue producing content.
Yeah,
And that's
it,
just
it
how it's
may
gonna
have
be.
it may have been utter shit, but I mean,
I mean, who's to say this isn't? We're getting
it
there.
still
We're
is.
getting there.
It still is. But do some research beforehand
Right.
if you're gonna make anything.
And like you said, it was maybe a couple afternoons worth, but still, just sitting there going through the names, like you said, putting in work on the logos, both for what we've got up behind us, and what we've got for the channel, for the banner. You know, like you said, we did the research, we looked it up. These people, they just
Have they published any of those? Those podcasts that they said that they had in backlog?
I haven't found the podcasts. I haven't found anything on this person aside from their Twitter
Yeah.
and mentioning.
And I tweeted
their
at them.
podcast.
The first time I've ever really tweeted at someone, but I tweeted at them like it would have been nice if you contacted the channel owner.
Have they actually responded to you yet at all?
Nothing. They
Nothing.
didn't hit me up on Twitter, nothing. So I'm guessing they probably dropped it.
Okay, well that works out.
Have they respond? But they've responded to you, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, directly email.
Respond to me, motherfucker.
Yeah. I say I'm laid back and I don't like conflict. He'll give you shit about it. He'll fight you for it.
'Cause I love it.
And
I
you've really been putting in the work on the channel and everything. I just show up and I talk.
Well, I keep over dripping, but
See, that you need to get a doctor for that or something.
it is a personal problem.
Mad clothes.
Actually, I seen a. Have you ever seen any of the college humor videos?
Yeah.
So they have one on podcasting, and it made me really think about it the other day. That like, is this contributing to anything at all? Because they just did a joke on it. Like the guy's like, "Hey, we're creating a podcast about us eating wings, watching The West Wing," and then his buddy's like, "I need to tell you something right now. Don't do the podcast." Like, but I want to do it. He's like, it's just going to be bad audio in your living room and your roommate showing up halfway through it and being like, "Sorry, dude, sorry, blah, blah." And then you're going to try contacting your friend in New York City that you think is funny, but then you don't have the technology to do any of this. And I'm like, okay.
Well,
mine's a little bit better.
Yeah, we're
mine's
step
a little
ahead of
bit
that.
better. I'm like, we're not entirely contributing to anything, but this is a potential step in a direction where we can actually produce something
Right, and you've definitely put the
helps
quality
in some way.
You've put the quality in between the setup behind the camera, audio, everything on the digital side, to setting up the set where we actually present.
Yeah.
Both the original and what we got going on now.
Yeah.
So
the original, I am so glad it's like this now.
Right.
The first setup was janky. It was so janky. Remember when the cabinet was here and like I had the screen halfway pulled out of the cabinet? It looked like it was gonna fall over. That was awful. And that computer now, like if I went back to that computer now, I'd go nuts. I'd go nuts. Ugh.
You know what's something we should try experimenting with sometime? Other camera angles.
Yeah, I have the webcam.
Yep.
Set up for I don't have it set up for this scene.
Right.
But we can potentially use that. I was gonna put it on a tripod over here to show like the set up, and then I'm like, nah, let's save that for another day. Let me get the final rendition of how I want this all set up, because I did have that cart last time, remember?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want that.
This is cleaned up.
I got
a
a
good deal.
tripod set up, and I put the mixer on that, and I put the camera on its own tripod, and it's just so much better. This stays up. I don't move any of this. I move the lights out of the way.
Right. I mean, after like seeing how much you've moved things around and arranged it, I really just kind of assumed at some point, yeah, he's not setting this up every damn time. Some of this is just now a part of.
This is my life now.
Yeah.
This is my life. And I remember I was telling you about my own personal live streams that I want to do.
Right. Right.
And I was supposed to do one yesterday.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he had to pick up his kids. We might do it later today. And I think I'm going to go into the business side of things and see if I can't get local businesses to come on, talk about like their business strategies, how they cope with the changing environment every day. And
right.
and there's a lot of old businesses here in Auburn. One I would love to have like a conversation with is
Right.
Maxwell's. That's what it is. Maxwell, right?
Which one are you referring to?
That grocery store that's been in Auburn forever.
I think so. The one right off the arterial, right?
Yeah.
Going up. Okay,
And
yes,
they've
I know
been
where
there
you're going at.
forever. They even deliver
I
still.
think, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
Like if you're.
Oh man, I might actually have to hit them up because that would be so much better than trying to do 10
I
trips on foot to Walmart.
I think you do pay more for it, but I have heard that they deliver groceries still.
Oh wow.
And they have been there forever. How have they survived through the Walmart? Like once Walmart came in, everything.
Well, that's
Even PNC was.
Well, I was gonna say
affected
that's
by
a
it.
thing, especially in like anywhere upstate New York. Overall, we're very like loyal to our brands, loyal to our stores and stuff. Just generally as a demographic of upstate New York,
Yeah.
and I think that's really what helps some smaller businesses
Even
hang on.
in giant malls and stuff, these chain bars, they can't last.
Oh yeah.
Like, what was that country bar up there?
Oh, at the
Like that guy, I think he went through some of his own issues because he wasn't paying taxes and everything.
Yeah.
But it was.
what was it? I love this bar.
Yeah.
And grill.
Yep.
Yep.
Toby Keith's Bar and Grill.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
That
think so, at
shut
least.
down, and now it's another one, and
Which is
it's,
gonna go through the same thing. There's a Margaritaville one up there, I believe. I'm not sure if it's even still open.
Yes,
but yeah.
yes, that is still open. I don't know how well they do though. That mall's definitely different now.
Yeah.
There's
It's huge.
it's
It's massive.
massive now.
I honestly
there
get
is some
lost.
fun stuff to do. There
Yeah.
is. Well, we would go up there religiously, like once a week when I was a kid. So like the newer stores, I can't remember exactly where they are and stuff like that. But I don't have a problem like keeping track of where I am in that mall. But Zoomies still sucks. I can't stand it. So here's another thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Right.
So yesterday, me and my brother went to GameStop because, unfortunately, this brand new Steam controller that I bought for my Steam Link, it wasn't working.
Okay.
The trigger wasn't working. So I went to return it, and my brother was talking about the new Switch, the new Nintendo Switch,
Right.
and how in order to take it somewhere, you need to bring like the dock and everything. Like the Switch prides itself on portability.
Right.
But if you're at anyone's house or anything, you can't hook it up to their TV very easily unless you have the dock and everything like that
Right.
to plug the HDMI into. And so all the Switch has on it is a USB Type C. It's just like on my phone,
Yep.
USB Type C. That's the only plug that it has on it.
All right.
And when you put it into the dock, that's all it connects through. All the processing power is in the Nintendo Switch. You plug it into the dock sends out a HDMI signal that passes through that USB Type C connection. So I was asking the guy, do you have a proprietary cord for the Switch? Like, does it need to be something special to grab that HDMI signal?
Right. As opposed to just some
I didn't-
generic.
I didn't think you needed anything like that. And I was correct. But he tried telling me that the USB Type-C did not put out the video signal. I'm like, then how does the dock get the video signal to send out? There's no processor in the dock. It's just connections.
Right.
And he just didn't want to. He didn't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say he
Dude,
probably
you
just
work,
didn't know
you
and
work,
didn't want to say he was stupid. So
and it drove me nuts. So we're standing there in GameStop, and I'm looking it up because I've actually seen this situation with the new MacBooks.
right.
The new MacBooks only have 2 to 4 outputs, and none of them are USB. None of them are HDMI, and people didn't like it because you had to go to the dongle life. Dongles, whatever you want to call them.
What?
They're little hubs. You've seen a USB hub, right? It's a USB device that you plug into through USB, and it has a bunch of USB connections on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You've seen it.
All right.
They're called dongles.
I love the originality of the name there.
So, anyways, I've seen it with MacBooks. You buy this dongle, and it has all these different connections on it. It has an HDMI connection. It has a Ethernet connection. It has a power in, so you can charge that device through that USB-C connection as you're using these other devices.
So all the stuff that it should have already had is on this dock.
To their defense, if you want a smaller device, these connections are actually pretty hefty.
Right, especially like the Ethernet connector.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So if you want to minimize your footprint, then you need to get rid of these things.
Yeah.
USB Type-C, it's tiny.
Oh, yeah.
It's small, and it's great. It works awesome. I love USB-C. USB Type-C. I hope everything goes to it. Right. So anyways, I'm like, I wonder if one of those dongles will work on any USB Type-C device.
Right.
And they do. Why doesn't this guy know about it? And why didn't he want to talk to me? Because after
he was probably just some dude who got hired by GameStop because
no, he is like, I've talked to him before. He's a big, I don't want to say nerd, but he's a big game enthusiast and whatnot. And he just didn't want to. I sat there in the store to find out so I could let him know, because if I was that person, I would have already been looking it up.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to know so I can tell other people that may have that same question. Or even as being a GameStop employee, you can actually, like, I'm sure there's some way that you can submit these things as like, hey, we should probably carry something like this because this is more portable than the actual dock and whatnot, and we can sell this product in our store.
Well, here's the other side, and I love playing devil's advocate here. There might actually be incentive through the store for him to not, be giving out this information, so people aren't going out and just getting, generic dock or generic, cords and everything, saying, oh, you got to buy it through Nintendo because GameStop, would have X deal with Nintendo to push their product.
And at the same time, if more people thought this way, I believe Nintendo would be more incentivized. Is that the word? They would have more incentive to make this proprietary cord for their device, so they could just have a dongle with an HDMI output and a USB Type-C in. And
well, here's the thing. Then it comes down to, okay, if Nintendo's going to make that, they need to either A, make it cheaper than the generic, or B,
if
make
it's
it
Nintendo, people are still
going
to buy it. If it's Nintendo, people are going to buy it because it has the Nintendo name on it. And if they have that sitting right next to the dock, they're going to sell it.
I'll agree to disagree.
If it was sitting in that store yesterday, my brother would have bought that. But instead, I went on Amazon because they didn't have it. It wasn't there ready to be just picked up and bought.
Right.
So I had to go to Amazon. And I found one on Amazon which was decent, $44.
Right.
Instead of the $90, but if it was $60, I bet you it would have been purchased.
Right, but I don't think like the setup that you're talking about wasn't something they initially intended with the Nintendo Switch. It's more of, like you said, you found that with the HDMI-C port that, you know, this is something that can be done, that is universal. I don't think it was something that was initially intended. It's just, as you said, it's smaller.
But this existed
runs everything.
before the Nintendo Switch came out.
Right.
So they're using this technology
Right.
in their dock.
They're using, you know, instead of making their own technology, they just use that technology. It's easier.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wish. And this is what I was trying to get to when I started this was the fact that whenever I like run into a situation where I don't know what to do or how to do it, I don't go, oh well, I guess I can't. No.
It's like, well, you're not like everyone else.
I know. And I was also talking to my brother about this, and it comes down to I don't have a lot of people to talk to because whenever I try talking about anything, no one understands it, and no one wants to like put the brain energy into it.
Like you get like when you get into all of your tech speak, and I'm just sitting there,
Yeah, and me being the person that I am, I'm like, why don't people want to know these things? Why doesn't someone want to know how to set up a NAS on their network? Like I was talking
NASs.
Them NASs, network attached storage device.
All right.
I mean, it'd be a NASD, but it's network attached
I think I like that
storage. Nasty. I'm glad they didn't make it that. But I went over to freenas now instead of the Ubuntu server, and it was so much easier to set up. My computer automatically backs up to it now. I have 4 terabytes of storage on it.
Yeah.
Hopefully here in the future I can move over to something better so I can run better virtual machines on it. So then when I have people over, they'll be able to just use, I mean, you might even be able to use a Raspberry Pi to bring up the video signal coming from
I'm sorry, I'm over here. Raspberry Pi.
But you should be able to bring up the video signal on a relatively downscaled computer onto the TV, and that way we can both play like a game on my network because that NAS has a video card in it, so it can render a pretty decent video quality, so someone can play along with me as like a LAN party or something like that. And that's cool. Like that sounds fun, but no one wants to. No one cares.
Well, again, like you've found, like, I don't want to say necessarily your niche, but you found like that thing that really interests you, and it's not for everyone.
It's not, and
it's not.
I don't know why, because we're moving into 2008. We're in 2018.
Well, like here I am over here. My last laptop I think I had back in 2012. I'm just getting one refurbished by you pretty much today. So that's 6 years I've gone without a laptop.
Yeah.
And, you know, secondhand smartphones and stuff. So I'm not like on that cutting edge of, you know, technology, or not only the latest things, but even, you know, getting into the how-to of more basic issues. I'm just not plugged into that degree. So it's not like a lack of wanting to know. It's just that lack of need.
Yeah. But at the same time, I have to sit there and ask myself, like, what is everyone doing with their free time? But then I look back on 2 years ago, like where I was with everything, and I'm like, well, that's what everyone's doing.
Right.
And yeah, it is way different, but like I do believe a lot of people should start looking into just working with computers in general, because we're about to hit an AI, like, just not even a climax. We're not even at a climax yet. We're rushing towards this AI future, and it's going to be nuts.
Yeah,
It's
that's going to be pretty
be
crazy.
Awesome. And even with how I use my Google Home,
Yeah.
don't turn on. In that podcast with Sara DT, he mentioned the Google Homes, and his went off. Well, no, his Alexa went off while they're doing the podcast, and I'm like, that sucks. I got to move that out of this room, or like shut it off while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But
I'm one of those people who are still slightly of the conspiracy theory mind. I'm like, I don't want nobody listening to me. I don't care if it is a little pre-programmed.
Well, they had that problem with the smaller Google Home that they put out. It was listening all of the time.
Yeah.
And it was recording all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they did fix that though. They did roll out a firmware update. So if you buy a new one, just update it, because guaranteed those devices don't have the new firmware on it, because they've been sitting in storage for the past year, because they made so many, and the new firmware won't be on them. Yeah. The new firmware won't be on them until like probably next year, when they run through all the stock that they already had and whatnot.
And like I said, I get very conspiracy theory minded. When you talk about a device that's constantly listening, constantly recording, and that's essentially, hey, we're compiling data on you, which just kind of gets tucked away until you're interesting enough to pull something up.
Yeah, and you can actually notice that whenever you're using your phone. If you watch a video on YouTube, you will then start getting ads on what that video pertained to. And I like it. I like it personally, and I don't care if they're listening to me. That's the thing. Like, I don't particularly care, because to me, what are they gonna do? They gonna lock me up because I don't share the same views or something like that? That could potentially be a factor,
right?
Later
now,
in the future, yes.
Mm-hmm.
If we run into a situation where,
well, even like not even saying with technology that's currently available, but like say it goes down the road so far and dystopian future happens, and they're like, okay, well, we want to see anyone who might be a worry. Well, let's throw together this algorithm, look through people's history, and see what they've been looking at, what they've been listening to, over say as far back as we have recorded, and like, oh, we've got a list of these people who potentially could be problematic.
Yeah,
we know them now.
I don't think with as many freedoms as we've come to have, I don't think in any way, shape, or form the United States government could crumble or anything like that, and
I'm not talking about
some other things will be implemented. I don't think it's realistic, because
it's like, I think it's going to be exactly the opposite. It's not that some terrible thing's going to happen and the pillars of society are going to be knocked down. I'm saying so many pillars are going to be erected that it becomes a cage.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like, there's so many riots happening and everything like that, and there's just so much that people can handle before they do break. Now, if we're taxed beyond our means, that's going to be a situation where people just aren't going to take it. They're not.
Well, and again, you got me on this whole conspiracy theory freaking thing. Even look at a lot of riots that have gone on. There are those who believe that they were politically motivated and even funded by certain interested parties. So it's not even like these are organic, naturally occurring incidences. These are something that have been poked and prodded into existence.
Yes, Yes. I can see that. But as far as storing information on us and everything, I just mean I don't give no fucks.
Right. And I'm not even saying it's something that would necessarily affect even our generation, but a generation down the road or a generation after there. It's the slow erosion of privacy, of rights and everything. It's not something that's going to happen overnight and suddenly everyone's, getting locked up in the gulag. It'll be that slow rolling progression, and it's not going to instantly be like everyone's getting locked up. It's going to happen so slowly and so subtly that people will just accept this is a part of life.
Yeah.
This is how it's always been, or at least for the last, how many years.
And on the other hand, I see all of this stuff as potentially good. Like I was talking to you last time about that movie The Circle,
Right.
and how she was putting everything out there, and that's I think yes, there are things that need to be kept private. There are things that don't need to be recorded or seen or anything like that, and but it could potentially be good. It could be a positive step in the future as to where people aren't doing anything bad, so they don't care if everything's private.
Yeah.
They don't mind. But then
Right,
but then
it's changing what is and is not bad over time is where you kind of get the issue.
yeah. So
Things that may not have been bad before, slowly or socially engineered to that's no longer acceptable. We can't let you do that.
yeah, and I do see where a lot of people, yes, there are some extracurricular activities or points of view that people want to hold on to because that's just who they are.
Right.
But I think we just need to get to a place where even people in power need to be like, okay, whatever.
Right.
They need to calm down, get rid of some of these just old-fashioned views, and
Well,
just calm down.
well, on the other side, I'm gonna say, and this is again just my opinion, real change, real societal change, doesn't occur because of regulation.
No.
And I say it happens within the framework of the people's mind,
Yeah.
and there's this humanity's natural resistance to being caged, whether it be physically or mentally or how you express yourself. So yeah, well, there will be so many people who are like, well, this doesn't affect me, I don't hold those views. The people who do hold those views are going to grip them even stronger, and they're going to pass those down, and there's going to be that natural resistance.
Yeah. Just like how I still can't believe that there's white supremacists and all this other bullshit that still exists. Like why are people holding on to this really dark stuff?
Oh yeah.
There's
And because of the way things are going with societal double standards and everything, that helps those people who do have those viewpoints to hold on to them because they feel justified. They feel victimized even though, there's no real reason for it. But because of this societal double standard, which they find themselves on the wrong side of, they feel justified in the way they feel and what they believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. None of this stuff is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
excuse me, this sort of stuff is my bread and butter. Where you be going on and on about all of your tech stuff. I really like to get into the societal psychology and just kind of where we're going.
Yeah.
And that stuff really interests me. The human mind, the way we react, both to stimulus and to each other, and what we can expect to see down the road. That fascinates me to no end. And I've been listening to a lot of You be listening to your, your motivational speakers. I'd be listening to psychology professors.
I actually haven't listened to motivational speakers in a while, and I have actually seen it how it was affecting me.
Right.
It did have a positive effect on me in different ways, and but I wasn't listening to those people that are like, you're the best, or like The Secret. If you ever
It's
read
like if you
The Secret,
use these rules, you will be successful.
yeah, I don't go towards those. I go towards the people that are laying it out on the line as like real shit. Like they're not buttering it up. They're not extruding anything. Like
Right. But like, and for example, and I think it's kind of two roads going to the same place, as far as you kind of going down that path and seeing, okay, this will get me there. At the same time, like I said, while I'm listening to some of these psychology professors and the actual practical application of some of it, like for example, I know I'm a very agreeable person, and there are multiple factors in someone's personality, and one of those traits is agreeableness. And it's found that agreeableness is great when you have to work in a team and you have to do this and then the other, but it's really bad in the determining of financial success. Because if you're agreeable, you aren't going to push for more. You aren't going to push for more of what you earn.
yeah. You're going to be more.
You're not going to push for that promotion or that pay raise.
You could potentially just be helping someone else get those means.
Exactly. Or someone who could be, maybe skill-wise equal to you.
Yeah.
If they're less agreeable, they're more likely to get the position above you should it open up.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, and that goes back to like how I don't understand why people don't want to figure this stuff out, because I hate being agreeable with the fact that like people are just like, that's just the way it is. Like, no, that's not the way it's gonna be. No.
Yeah.
I want this to work, so I'm going to find a means to make this work, and that goes right along the lines of I don't agree with other people saying, do it this way.
Yeah.
Just be happy with this way. No, I don't agree with that.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. But yeah, back to like so I did see an impact with like listening to that type of stuff. I was actually pushing harder for like the fitness side of stuff. I've actually dropped off a bit on the fitness side of stuff because
you were at least last I saw, you were really intense into it. So even dropping off from there, you still have a pretty healthy level of
yeah. I have been stress eating a lot. So I think I've dropped off on the nutrition side of things, but as far as like getting workouts in and stuff, it's not as frequent, but it's still there, and I hope it gets better, but I am going to reevaluate and get back into that type of situation, because I have seen how it's affected my kind of work ethic,
right,
like at home work ethic. The other day I sat down and watched an entire series, and I'm like, I didn't get shit done. I didn't get nothing done.
I have to say, just because you talked about a series, there is one I just started. I haven't gotten that far in on Netflix. That is worth checking out. It's called Altered Carbon.
Ooh, I seen the
Yeah, it's very Blade Runner-esque, and has a very
and that's a series.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the feel of it is, I mean, it's sci-fi. It's definitely sci-fi, but it plays out like a noir detective
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, it actually popped up right after I tried looking up Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Machina?
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
About the robot chick?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it, but that's how the word's pronounced.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Machina. But it looks like Machina.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Hey, Lutton.
At first, I was saying Ex Machine, but
And then Ex Machina.
Yeah. Ex Machina, whatever. So I looked that up, and then literally right after I looked that up, Black Mirror popped up, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's.
That is a crazy series in itself, yeah.
Oh no, whatever you were talking
Altered
about.
Carbon.
Altered Carbon popped up, and I think it was the mix between me looking up Black Mirror and looking up Ex Machina.
Yeah.
That produced that into my feed, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I love Netflix algorithm right now because it's giving me everything that I want.
It's like I like their algorithm over YouTube's ad algorithms.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit more accurate for my taste.
They are getting better. Actually, I barely ever watch ads because I do have the YouTube Red.
Oh, okay.
So I never see ads unless my browser kicks me out of my account.
Oh yeah,
which
I
it
gotta
does
say,
every once in a while.
It's like a peeve for me. Like, you know how after, well, maybe not so much you because you've got Red. After like 5 seconds or so, it lets you skip the ad. But then every once in a while, you get a 15-second one. And it's like, no, you have to wait the extra 10 seconds for the entire thing to go through. I'm like, you bastard.
Do you click off of videos when you see that?
No.
No?
No.
They're
You're just like me.
I was watching a video the other day on AdSense, and they were talking about that and how you can set it up so people can't skip. That's a setting that channel has implemented, so they can get paid better.
Right, it's
because
part of the monetization. If you
someone,
got these sponsors,
if someone skips the ad, you don't get paid for it. After so many seconds, YouTube does charge that company, and you may see a fraction of that. But once you turn that setting on, they have to watch it, and you do get paid for it. And I guess your views go down when you implement that, and I can see it.
Right, because again, you get people like me, because I've seen like one ad that was over a half an hour long. It wasn't one of the ones that forced you to sit through it, but I've seen a half-hour long ad. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
That might be someone just throwing their video up as an ad. I have seen that.
Okay.
I have seen that, and it'll actually play someone else's video before that video.
All right.
And I don't know.
It's like
I don't know
for
what that's about.
exposure?
I guess so. I guess so. So people can buy ad spots.
Right, and like you said, I guess maybe if they have similar content to the one you're on, they might throw that up, like you said, just for exposure to get their name out there.
Yeah.
And you might,
these new
get a little bit in and be like, oh,
these
I'll
new
check it out.
YouTube Red channels that are popping up that like YouTube is producing.
Did you ever look up the channel I told you about, Sam and Nico?
Yes, I did watch their PUBG video.
Okay.
Their like reenactment where they're like that one guy had like a frying pan and stuff like that. I actually had seen that before.
Nice.
That was actually how I was introduced to PUBG. I'm like, what is this game they're making fun of? Like, why has this guy got a frying pan? And
they do so much. They have so much good content.
That parody was spot on to the game. Like, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I actually chased after my first airdrop yesterday
How'd
on
that
that
go?
game. I died. I died before I got to it because this guy was just like hunkered down in some weeds,
doing what
in the
people
middle of a
usually do,
field.
and just watch
he had
people run out.
He had a full outfit to blend in with the field, and I'm like, where'd he get this? Wow. Every time I die, I watch each death. Like, I need to know what these people are doing so I can get just a little bit better at this.
You want to know what they're doing?
Being good.
They're crushing it.
I haven't made it to crush it yet, so I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, like you
Hopefully-
said, you're on 101.
Yeah, I'm not
You're
even in
advanced.
101. I'm in like 099 right now. Like I'm doing stuff, but I'm not even to the point where I'm ready to crush it.
One thing I want to say, since we're segueing on some video game stuff, I told you about Monster Hunter, the new one that came out, Monster Hunter World.
No,
You
but
know?
I think I think I seen somewhere else it was mentioned. Okay, yeah.
Well, I was a big fan of the series before, back on the PSP and Nintendo 3DS,
Okay.
and I loved it. Me and a friend of mine in the army played it like out in when we were deployed. We get back from deployment, not do anything, in between. So we were like, okay, let's go on a hunt. So I was so happy when they had it moved to all the consoles.
Okay.
And I love it because it's like I haven't skipped a beat. I am crushing it. For real.
You didn't lose your talent at all, huh?
Oh no.
After how long has it been since you played it?
Oh, it's had to have been like 4 years. It's been a minute.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things about that game, though, is it comes down to two things about whether or not, well, three things actually. Actual raw skill, preparedness, and repetition. Because unlike most role-playing games, you get experience, you put those into stats and that sort of thing, and your character becomes better.
Mm-hmm.
This don't work that way. Here, you hunt down these monsters, and you basically mine them for parts to make better weapons, make better armor, and progress up the ladder of creatures to hunt.
Okay.
And you continue that way, and you get better gear, and, rinse, wash, repeat with, again, preparedness, skill, equipment. And I've gotten to the point where I've got, like, my characters set up, and I can afford to not just have the best equipment. I want to go, okay, well, this looks better. This is more aesthetically pleasing. This is what I want to hunt with. And I can take on, the strongest thing available to me without issue.
Ah. Well, because you're at a higher level now.
Well, it's not even about my level. It's about, again, like I said, just the skill from previously playing, knowing what to expect, being prepared. And, like, so, for example, when you go out on these hunts, you got these, large, semi-open world maps. And not only do you have the big bad guy that you're going to be hunting for there, but there'll be other ones that'll pop up as you go, and you can fight them or run away or, whatever.
Okay.
I've gotten to the point where I was like, okay, I've got to kill this big bad before progressing into the story. And halfway through, I'm like, oh, this other guy popped up. I'm going to kill that one too. Just for fun.
Just for fun.
And it's not like it's something super easy. I had just finished defeating the other one to get to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I take on both of them with subpar armor, and I didn't really prepare much for this mission, but hey, I've got this.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
It's fun that way.
Nice.
Plus, the community is great. Just through, like, Facebook and stuff, I talked to some people from all over the world. Some people out in the West Coast, people from Western Europe.
This on
Xbox One.
Xbox One?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm playing with this couple from out in Western Europe, and I mean they're getting way ahead of me. They play a lot, but again, like I said, even though I'm not advancing my characters quickly, I'm practiced enough that I can make up for it when we actually go out to hunt.
Okay.
But in the community is just amazing because it really focuses on communication and working together. Because I'm not sure if they do it anymore, but they used to scale up the difficulty of the monsters depending on how many people you had in your group.
Oh, okay.
So, something you might hunt alone and have no problem with might one-shot you with a group of 4 people.
Oh. See, those are good mechanics. I like mechanics like that.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to implement is little tweaks like that. That's cool. I've never even heard of it.
Oh yeah, it's a great series. Hey, get time on your own. Just check out a trailer or something just to get like I
It's
kind of
just
feel
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter World.
Monster Hunter World. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out. Did you see PUBG's on Xbox now?
Yeah, I'm tempted. I'm tempted and torn about getting it because again, like we've talked before, I've seen so many people doing like live plays and streaming, and just people enjoying it. But again, that's a $60 drop on a new game that I'm not
It's
sure.
$60.
I'm pretty sure. Am I wrong?
On
Am I wrong?
I
guess
hope
that's it.
I hope it's
figured
not.
new game. They're probably
check it out.
dropping it for $60.
Let's check it out. We'll
I could be wrong.
we'll bring this up because
Why was it dropped for less on PC?
I'm pretty sure it's $30.
Right, but if that's through Steam, Steam is always cheaper.
Is it?
Always.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because I paid out the ass for all the DLC for Fallout 4.
Mm.
Okay, PUBG. Let's see, Xbox One. Just go to Xbox.
I mean, hey, I could be wrong. Maybe it's not. Oh, no, $30.
Nope, $30.
Okay.
Xbox One.
See,
Okay.
that was my misconception. I figured
Okay.
new game out on a console, they want to get their $60 for it.
No, because that's all Battlegrounds is just that one island. Well, I think
Well, they
there's
got two now.
They do have two now.
Yeah, that's the desert map, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
And yeah, it's there's not too much to the game, like at all.
It's straightforward.
It's a 100 man battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely modeled after the movie Battle Royale.
Oh,
But it's a good game. It's not that bad. I had heard one complaint about the Xbox One, but it might have been his internet connection of getting dropped. But that might have been internet connection.
That
Or
might be. And that's
it might be a server problem too, because I know a lot of people experience lag on high used servers, and just like on. Well, no, because even right now, Halo uses your console as the server, so that is internet connection based. Whenever we've experienced a problem with that, who uses servers?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Although
I do like that migration that some company's been doing to having the console run as a server. Because while you might run into connectivity issues sometimes, you also, first off, the company doesn't have to worry about dedicated servers.
Yeah.
And secondly, you don't have to worry about say it's a classic game, people stay on it for years.
Yeah, and
it's not going to shut down so long as you have other players.
Problems with that before with Final Fantasy games.
Mm-hmm.
That one Final Fantasy game just last year turned off after what, like
not long,
13 years?
Yep.
That's a long time for a dedicated server to be up like that. I'm sure somewhere.
Well, like I know Halo 2 like a couple years ago had it. For the longest time they had their dedicated servers up, and they're like, "Hey, today's the day it dies."
Yeah. I do like the fact that that games do use like other consoles as the server.
Right.
It is nice. Except for when you get dropped into a game where the person has a really shitty connection and you're like, this whole game is ruined now.
It's like you're bad and you should feel bad.
But at the same time, we were playing with a cell phone connection out in the boonies.
Yeah.
So if anyone was to ever get dropped onto my console, it was just garbage. The entire thing was garbage. We were playing fine, but they were all over the place.
Yeah. But I mean, now that we're no longer out in the boonies, and as far as I know, you're no longer piggybacking off of your cell phone.
No, my internet is amazing now.
So,
and I'm scared to go back to the boonies. I'm scared. So I don't know. Internet connection's huge now. Like,
Well,
It's
especially
so
if you
nice.
want to do stuff like this.
Yeah. I could not
we
do this
could
out there.
never. You could have all of the equipment, and it just wouldn't happen.
No, because we'd be piggybacking off of my phone,
Yep.
and it'd be awful. Because there's still no connection there.
Oh yeah.
You could get DSL, but that's like what, 15 megs up and down. That's
Mhm.
awful. That is awful. Actually, out in Union Springs,
Yep.
you can only get a connection as fast as, I believe, 150 up and 150 down. I'm running 1,000 up. No, it doesn't hit 1,000, but it is a gigabit connection where it's 900 up and like about 820 down.
Oh well.
So it's fast. It's super fast. And I'm not ready to give it up anytime soon.
Well, hopefully we won't ever be in a position where you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, not anymore. Again,
No.
you're no longer living there. I'm no longer living there, and hopefully wherever we go, we won't have to be screwed without a connection.
I've actually been thinking about like how hard would it be to actually move down south, and I've actually been looking up a lot of jobs,
Oh yeah.
like with what we talked about last time. Like it's not that hard to find a job, and there's tons of jobs starting to open now, and I haven't applied to any because I don't want to waste anyone's time.
Right.
I don't want them to try and interview me for it and then just be like, well, I
Back out.
can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it because that would be shitty on my part.
And it really is a committed decision at that point.
Yeah. But there are avenues to be able to go down south, and I don't know if I'm definitely thinking about it lately
All right.
because it seems warm.
I know. It's really easy to think about how nice the South is when you're in the middle of a New York winter.
Yeah, but then during summer you have all these options and stuff, and the fact is I've been kind of choked off from those options for the past 2 years. So I think
Right.
that's why I feel so strongly about it right now. But once the license is back and everything like that,
Oh yeah.
hopefully I regain that kind of like I love New York type.
Right.
type
It's
feeling
like when you
again.
no longer feel trapped,
Yeah.
that your opinion might change on.
Yeah, I hope it does. I really hope it does because I do love New York.
Yeah.
There is a lot of stuff, and I just don't want to go to New York City for like big options. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that place is a mess.
Well, hell, you could take a good probably $5-10 raise off what you're making now and still be just getting by in New York City.
Yeah, but you do get paid more in New York City.
Yeah,
if you
but you
work
also
there.
just get by
Yes, you do. With
unless you're doing really
with a
good.
closet too. Those
Yeah.
those apartments are tiny.
Mm.
So
and
small.
not in the best conditions at all.
No.
Like the for the small ones, some of the upkeep I've seen out there looks like something you would get out in the boonies here, as far as the conditions with walls being crap and electrical throughout the place. So you can get really shit apartment out there.
For way too much.
Yeah, for like twice as much as you
like
probably do
$1,200
for what you
bucks.
get. Yeah.
You pay for a whole house here with that. You can rent a
Yeah.
whole house for
You would-
around
You would
$1,200
be the
bucks
king
here.
of your castle.
King of your castle. I really do think like things need to spread out a little bit more.
Oh, yeah,
because like
decentralized from-
that congestion, and there's now options for that since more people are moving to satellite type facilities where you don't need to be that close anymore,
Right.
because you can get information and products to each other so quickly.
Right, and
that-
it really depends on what field you're in too. Like like you said, physical proximity is less of a factor depending on what kind of field you're in.
Yeah. As far as like digital work, you can be wherever you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Like people land a online, like a job that they can do online, and they'll move to like Puerto Rico or something, and they're just out They're like, deuces. I'm gonna go work from the beach, man.
That would be beautiful.
It would, but I don't think I could even do that.
Oh, I could do that.
I don't think I would want to do that because I do like kind of like a hustle bustle kind of environment, and I think I would let myself go if I ended up doing something like that.
Right. And then it's real easy to get sick of paradise.
Yeah, I want paradise to be this like almost unachievable place for me because I do want that like I just want it. I don't want to. I don't want to have
it. It's just you want to look at it and go, that's
is
what I want.
Yeah, because I feel like if I do achieve something like that, it's not going to be that type of paradise for me.
Right. And hey, that's what retirement's for.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, it's hopefully by then you have everything set, your family's good, and you can finally take that time to relax as your body falls apart on you.
Deuces. And but even like retirement's scary because like you see it a lot where people hit retirement and then like a year later they're in the hospital and they're on the out and you're like, ooh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I hope you did some stuff before you hit retirement.
Right. And that's kind of like at least where I'm at. I mean, I haven't made the best decisions in my life, but I've made decisions which make memories and are in events in my life which I know I'm never going to have that chance for again.
Yeah.
So it's something I can just say
which
like, I've done it.
Pretty jealous about because I haven't made some of those decisions. I haven't just
they haven't all worked out for the best.
No, they haven't, but like you've done something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think like the biggest thing for me was going into the Army and being able to venture around down south and stuff. That was the biggest thing that I've done, but I've never went on like a kick-ass hiatus and just like did whatever I wanted to. I've always been doing something that I should be doing. Like this is doing what I want to do.
Right.
Like I'm just not giving a fuck on this level right now. So I'm just doing whatever the hell I wanted to. But as far as like getting out and doing stuff, I do need to do that.
And that's one of the things, like, you know, the stuff I did before, it did instill in me just the smallest spark of wanderlust. And I know I want to travel, but I'm also at that point in time where I know there's so much responsibility I need to hang on to if I want to make this work.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find that middle ground. I'm, you know, doing my work. I'm advancing there. And ultimately, I'd like to travel before I have to retire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can still enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I need to find a different career venture. That's for sure.
One thing I'm excited about, though, if I do stick with the company I'm with right now, we work with some people over in Japan, and sometimes for business trips, we'll send some people out over to Japan. So that's something I want to do.
Nice.
I need to get promoted, get to the point where they have a reason to put my ass out there. And then that would be great to go out there, do some work, and then just enjoy it for even like a few days.
Apparently it's real easy to find a English teaching job over there for a year.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought if you did it, the company wanted you to be out there for an extended period of time. But apparently they like it better if you just want to do it for about a year. And I guess the turnover rate for English teachers in Japan are pretty quick, because when you only go over there for a year, you don't need to get insurance over there. You don't need to do all these weird requirements to work over there. You can work off a visa for the year.
Yeah.
And it's basically a paid vacation.
I don't think I would be the person they would want teaching English to their kids.
And
like even
and it's
just
not even
looks-wise,
it's not even hard to get a certification.
Yeah.
Like I looked it over and I would almost be a candidate, and I can't spell bull half the time.
Oh, that was so great.
I'm setting up a script on OBS and doing all this technical stuff and I can't spell bowl. We were talking about it before we went live,
Yeah.
and I'm doing like command prompt stuff, but I can't spell bowl.
You're like, hey, how do you spell this? No, try again.
No, that's not how you spell it, guy. Come on now. Oh,
I'd love to do something like that, but again,
especially
in the
that's
culture.
a whole year.
Well, I was gonna say, like with the culture of the Japanese too, looks mean a lot, and tattoos aren't looked too well upon out there. And even like, if I wore button downs all the time and had everything covered up.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, the Japanese are very private people.
Oh.
Like, their privacy is held to the utmost over there.
Yep.
And even with that Jake Paul video, he crossed the line. He was like running
So
around.
much.
He was running around the streets, like
He was-
poking and prodding at these
He was
people.
being an ass.
Dude, bad, really bad. And he didn't release that video, actually. I think he may have released it for like 5 minutes or something, but someone grabbed it and now it's being uploaded constantly. Like, people are like, dude, you're not getting out of this.
And say you're not off the hook.
No, people are gonna see how awful you are.
Mm-hmm.
But he has like dedicated fans that are just right behind him. It's nuts. It's nuts how much someone can influence someone else.
What is he even YouTube famous for?
Just him. He's like a Kardashian. I didn't know the Kardashians were famous just for being famous.
A part of my soul died a little bit at that statement.
Why?
Just the fact that you compare to him to a Kardashian, not saying anything to the Kardashians, but because there's someone else like a Kardashian out there.
It hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just famous for being famous.
My soul just kind of.
He's just a vlogger. They're not vloggers, but I'm saying, like,
Right.
he's famous because he's famous.
Yeah.
He hasn't done a whole lot.
Yeah.
He was an original Viner.
Well, I was gonna say, like, PewDiePie at least has like all this stuff he's done. I don't know what the hell this guy's done aside from find a body.
He's
Oh my God.
he's made
I'm sorry, I could just see him doing, "Hey kids, you want to see a dead body?"
it was awful. It was downright awful. But he originally started out on Vine,
Right.
and when Vine lost traction, all of the Viners moved over to YouTube, and that's where he really took off because he was doing vlogs and stuff like that. But yeah, he's just famous because he's famous.
I mean, that's kind of disappointing, but I mean,
He actually
guess
started
I already kind of knew that.
all those diss tracks.
Yeah.
All those diss tracks kind of started around him. Like, all these people making diss tracks about each other.
Oh.
It's because he made a diss track, and it got a lot of traction. And then, like, his brother made one about him, and then he made one about his brother, and it was just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Team 10 is, like, on the way out, though. That's his little brother's kind of like. That's who they were. Him and all of his friends, they were called Team 10.
Yeah.
And, like, then just a whole bunch of controversy popped up around him and stuff, and so they've kind of just spread out. Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Thank God they dissolved. I'm so glad. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that our society isn't that dumb as a whole to where these people continue.
Right.
They do only have a short shelf life.
Yeah,
you
I
know
was
what
gonna say that I almost attribute that to our withering attention span.
Yeah, but we're still doing.
With that in mind, props to anyone who actually watches this and gets this far.
What has it been, like an hour and a half now?
I think like 2 hours, maybe more.
Hour and a half, hour and 38
Oh,
minutes.
really?
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep. Actually, I think we should shut it down so we can go mess around with that computer and get you all set up, and maybe next time we can have some research done on something.
Okay,
And-
that sounds good.
Yeah, so we can actually contribute on something.
Nice. Oh, and one thing I'd like to do, just like down the road, assuming I keep on with the Dungeons and Dragons, I'd like to like just throw out updates and stuff, just see how that's going.
Yeah.
Because I know you got your tech stuff, and like I said, I do some of the psychology, but I really like is I use that with character creation, world building, the relationships between characters, both real and fictional, and I'd like to kind of explore that a little bit as a side thing.
Yeah,
Alright.
definitely, dude.
Awesome.
That sounds good. And I think we're on the way out.
All right.
And I hope whoever watched this enjoyed it. If you can.
Stay classy, you sexy beast.
All right, everybody, have a good one.